Can you really turn osteoporosis around once you've hit 40, or is it just one of those things that gets worse no matter what you do? The truth is, bones don't stop responding after midlife. They're alive, they're adaptable, and they can change more than most people think. Let's start with what osteoporosis actually means. Bones aren't dead sticks of calcium. They're living tissue that's constantly being broken down and rebuilt. Two types of cells run the show. Osteoclasts take apart old bone while osteoblasts build new bone. When you're young, those two teams balance each other out. Once you're past 40, they become less balanced. That's when bone density drops and bones get weaker. If this continues, it leads to osteoporosis, which makes bones so fragile that a small fall or even a strong sneeze can end in a fracture. Women are at greater risk because estrogen protects bone, and it drops quickly after menopause. Men lose bone too, though more slowly. Now here's the good news. Low bone density isn't necessarily permanent. Research has shown that people can actually improve their bone density later in life. A recent case report described a woman after menopause who increased her bone density over 2 years through diet and exercise. It does mean your bones are more flexible than you've been led to believe. Think of them like clay that's dried out a bit. You can't make it as soft as it once was, but you can still shape it into something stronger if you know how. So, how do you actually do this? Let's start with movement. Exercise is one of the most powerful tools for improving bone health. Bones respond to physical stress. When you challenge them with resistance, they adapt by getting stronger. This is why weight-bearing and strength exercises make such a difference. Research shows that high-intensity resistance and impact training improved spine bone density in postmenopausal women with osteoporosis and osteopenia. Don't worry, this doesn't mean you have to deadlift twice your body weight. Brisk walking, stair climbing, squats with a chair for support, or using resistance bands all give bones the message they need. And here's another important point. Balance training is just as important. A lot of fractures happen not because bones suddenly snap, but because people fall. Improving balance cuts that risk. Tai Chi, standing on one leg while brushing your teeth, or even practicing careful heel-to-toe walking, all help reduce falls. Exercise builds the demand, but nutrition provides the supply. Bones need raw materials, and without them, they can't grow stronger, no matter how much you exercise. Calcium is the main building block. Vitamin D helps your body absorb that calcium so it actually reaches your bones. Studies show that taking calcium and vitamin D together lowers the risk of hip fractures by about 16%. Another analysis found the combination lowered total fractures by 15% and hip fractures by 30%. It's best to get calcium from food because your body absorbs it better and you avoid the risks of taking too much in supplement form. Dairy, leafy greens, canned sardines with bones, and fortified foods are all solid sources. Vitamin D is a bit trickier since most of us don't get enough sun exposure to make enough of it, so a supplement may be the best option. I've linked my go-to website for high-quality, affordable vitamin D supplements, so check that out. Protein is the other unsung hero of bone health. Most people think of muscles when they hear protein, but bones actually need it too. The inner structure of bone is made of protein and minerals like calcium attached to that framework. Without enough protein, the framework is weak no matter how much calcium you have. Protein also keeps muscles strong, which supports your bones and helps prevent falls. Many people eat less protein as they age, either because their appetite shrinks or they assume they don't need it. That's a mistake. Getting enough protein is key to keeping bones strong. Lifestyle choices also shape your bones more than most people realize. Smoking speeds up bone loss. Alcohol slows down bone building. Poor sleep messes with hormones that regulate bone turnover. High stress raises cortisol, which in high amounts weakens bone. Hormones themselves matter too. For women, the drop in estrogen after menopause accelerates bone loss. For men, lower testosterone levels later in life also make bones weaker. This all shows how connected bone health is to overall health. For people with very low bone density, lifestyle changes might not be enough. That's where medication comes in. Several treatments are available. Bisphosphonates slow down bone breakdown. Denosumab prevents bone loss by affecting bone metabolism. Anabolic drugs like teriparatide and romosozumab go even further by stimulating new bone growth. These drugs aren't for everyone, and they come with side effects, but for people with high fracture risk, they can be life-saving. Guidelines show that combining medication with exercise produces the best results. You're not going to restore your bones completely to what they were when you were younger. Some of the fine internal structure of bone, called microarchitecture, is harder to rebuild once it's damaged. That's why even people who improve their bone density sometimes still fracture bones. Not every exercise is safe either. Jumping into high-impact training without guidance can be risky if your bones are already fragile. Taking too much calcium or vitamin D can cause kidney stones or, in rare cases, cardiovascular issues, and age itself slows the process down. Healing takes longer, hormones change, and patience becomes more and more important. Think of bone building after 40 as more like gardening than construction. You don't just pour concrete and walk away. You water, weed, and wait, and over time you see steady growth. So what's the most practical plan? Start by finding out where you are. A bone density scan shows your baseline. Blood tests reveal if you're low in vitamin D. Once you know your starting point, you can build a plan. Begin with regular resistance exercise 2 or 3 times per week. Add weight-bearing activity like walking or climbing stairs. Include balance training to reduce the risk of falling. Start small and increase intensity slowly. Consistency matters more than pushing too hard right away. At the same time, focus on nutrition. Make sure you're getting enough calcium and vitamin D, either from food or with the help of supplements if needed. Aim for enough protein to support both bones and muscles. Include other nutrients like magnesium and vitamin K2, which play smaller but important roles. Keep your weight in a healthy range. Being too thin increases fracture risk, and being too heavy adds strain to joints. Then monitor your progress. A follow-up scan a year or 2 later can show whether your bone density is improving or holding steady. Pay attention to everyday signs too. If you're moving with more confidence, falling less often, or feeling stronger, those are victories. If things aren't improving, don't give up. Every positive change builds towards stronger bones over time. You won't erase osteoporosis completely once you're past 40, but you can absolutely make measurable improvements. You can lower your risk of fractures, maintain independence, and keep doing the activities you enjoy for much longer. Bones don't give up on you unless you give up on them first. What steps will you take to improve your bone health? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe while you're there.